Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming to the Board of Education Candidate Forum, which is sponsored by the Winneconne News and graciously hosted by the Winneconne Community School District. My name is Sarah Trochty. I'm a 2018 graduate of Winneconne High School and a 2021 graduate of UW-Oshkosh, and I will be moderating the forum on behalf of the Winneconne News. The format of the evening will be as follows. Each candidate will have roughly 1 minute to introduce him or herself. After everyone has finished, I will ask the candidates a series of 5 questions. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer each question. They have prepared answers to 2 questions in advance and will answer 3 questions on the spot. Retired news staff Mary Harper will time responses and hold up a pink card when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining. We have done our best to keep the format of the forum to 1 hour out of respect for everyone's time, but there is a chance we could go over. If you have specific questions for any candidate, they may make themselves available after the forum but are not required to do so. Without further ado, let's get started with the introductions.
Hello, my name is Jeff Yanke. I'm running for school board. Lived in Winneconne for the last 13 years. Graduate from UW-Oshkosh with a degree in education. Taught at Oshkosh West for 5 years. I'm a financial advisor for the last 20 years. And then I also develop real estate and rental properties as well. I'm running because I don't know if the administration is listening all the time. So I'm just running to make sure open communication is there and to listen.
Hello, my name is Megan Keller, and I am running for the Winneconne Community School District School Board. A little background on me. I was born and raised here in Winneconne. I'm a 1998 graduate of Winneconne High School. By 2002, I had completed my undergraduate degree in communicative disorders from University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. I then headed west to spend the next 2 years of my life traveling and doing the domestic Peace Corps. Roads led back towards home, where I earned my master's degree in K-12 counseling from Lakeland College. During both my undergrad and my graduate work, I was blessed to complete many practicum hours within the walls of this district. Post-graduation from my master's program, I took on the role as the Connects counselor here for 2 years. I have and continue to substitute teach here in the district, while also being self-employed full-time. With 3 children currently in the district, I would love to give back by putting my energy and enthusiasm for our kids and school into the school board. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Mark Cundy, and I'm current board member of the Winneconne Community School District. Growing up, my parents always said to me, it's time to go. And I said, where? And they said, school. And they always reminded me those are the best days of our lives. And serving here in this community, in this district, it's been a passion of me and of my family to give back and be an advocate for education within our school district. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight to participate in this very important process, and particularly at a time when our district is facing many decisions that have to be made. Many decisions, such as the building and infrastructures of our district facilities, and as well a choice that you will have to make and decide who is going to serve and lead and follow those pathways of your wishes for the education of our children within this district. I especially want to thank my family for their support for this endeavor, my wife of 38 years, Cheryl, 6 of my graduate children here of the Winneconne Community School District, as well as my grandchildren who are now entering this district. I'm a 1983 graduate here of Winneconne High School, went on to serve in the district in many capacities as I have learned through the education program here within our district, and my love for that has followed me to continue to serve and advocate for community and education within our district. I went on to school. I have an animal science degree and a business management degree, and currently I work in animal health and pharmaceutical. I serve Wisconsin and Minnesota as the districts, working with veterinarians, dairies, beef herds, and around the animal science area. As I have the opportunity tonight and over the next weeks, I hope you are convinced of my passion for the development and the well-being of all of our children. as well as my appreciation that we must embrace fiscal responsibility. As I have served the years here on this Winneconne Community School District Board, I hope that you have found that I have an ear to listen and a process that we can include and engage everyone within our community.
I'm Bonnie Blank. I'm running for school board because I have a vested interest. My grandkids are in school. My sons graduated from Winneconne. I am retired. I have 16 years of state service. I was a financial specialist. I was on the board of directors of the Neenah Animal Shelter. I want to see what's best for our kids, and that's why I am getting involved in this. I want this to go in a good direction for our kids. I just want to be involved in that. There's some things that I have some concerns with, and I guess I feel the only way I can help is to get involved.
All right. Thank you so much, candidates. Your first question is going to be an impromptu one. Why are you running for the Board of Education, and what skills or experiences motivate or qualify you to get involved? And let's start on this side this time. Why are you running for the Board of Education, and what skills or experiences motivate or qualify you to get involved?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I'm running again because I feel the need to get involved. I think my experience that I have with the state, working for the state, I worked at a mental health institution. I spent a lot of time with the kids when I could, because before I was the financial specialist, I also was a supervisor. So I spent every day with kids that had mental issues, and I was an advocate for them. And I feel I can spill that over into a position here. And, you know, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. I know what's right for kids, I know what's good for kids. All my kids are successful, and, you know, that's about all I can say is I have everyday experience that makes me feel qualified. I am knowledgeable, I'm patient, and I really believe I could do a good job.
I'm looking back at the years when I first started to get involved here in this community, and it stems back to me when I was a freshman in high school. At that time, our agricultural education program was on the blink of going to be eliminated. The numbers were short. We were within the range of 7 to 10 students within our classes, and we needed to have at least 10 to run the program. At that time, John Allen was our Board of Education president. Dave McNamee, Bill Breister was our high school principal. Gwen Jensen was our clerk, and I went and stood up in front of the Board of Education to support my passion. My passion with my background in agriculture and my animal science degree forced me and pushed me to get involved, since I was brought up with a family that was strong in advocacy of community and education. My positive relationship building skills and our fundamental responsibility to offer a safe haven and the education of our children is one of the primary reasons why I continue to stay involved. My children graduated here from Winneconne. They got an excellent graduated experience, as well as a rewarding experience as they moved on into college. And with my experience serving on the board within the last 15 years, doing the budgeting and working on financing and decision-making for policy and listening to our community, and as well being involved with the Association of School Board and CESA 6 being a delegate, as well as on the Board of Controls, I have the experience, the knowledge, And I have put in the time, and I am looking to continue to grow and learn, serve this district for the advocacy of our children's education, and engage and surround ourselves what's best for our children is their education, and make them the leaders for tomorrow.
Excuse me just for a moment. Please remove your sign from the room.
Why? Under what rule? There are no rules. She's allowed, as a constituent, to voice anything. There's no rules, there's no laws about holding up a sign, especially when it's something factual.
I apologize. We're not allowing questions or comments from the audience until after the forum, when people will be allowed to address candidates individually by the candidate's request on their own time, if the candidates choose to stay. We're keeping this forum as positive as possible, and I would appreciate if there was not any interference. Thank you so much. You may continue.
Why are you running for the school board? That's a very multifaceted question, isn't it? I feel a major reason I'm running is because there was an open spot. I'm a parent of 3 children in the district. I see firsthand the effects of things that our board decides on when my children come home from school and share with me how their day goes, how their year goes, how their classes are going, what they're learning in their classes, all of those things that I think, to no fault of their own, we only have 2 of 7 board members currently on the board as parents. And I think it's very easy to make decisions and turn a blind eye, or maybe possibly not even know the effects of decisions being made when you don't live it. I live it ×3. As far as being qualified, I'm a business owner, so financially I feel as though I understand P&Ls quite well. With my K-12 counseling background and my master's degree, obviously I have the education background to feel qualified to sit and fill a board position. And like I said, most importantly, I have the parent perspective. Thank you.
So why am I running for school board? Well, first thing I'm running is because I don't know if everyone's listening. Questioning regarding just the assessment process of the school district, regarding the 1, 2, 3, and then when you start looking at the commingling of the school district with first educational resources and where the money is going, I have some questions of an independent assessment process for the education of our students. You know, other school districts use target-based grading as well. They do it completely different. There's so many things that could be done to leverage the benefits of target-based grading. That's one thing. I don't know if we're doing it independently. When I send emails or something, they fall on deaf ears. Last night at the school board meeting, I asked to basically raise the question of point of order, and I got the answer of no. And I said what was discussed wasn't even on the agenda that was printed. And then Dr. Larson said she played secretary and she printed the wrong agenda. I was just doing point of order, and it wasn't listening. What skills do I have? Well, I taught economics at Oshkosh West High School for 5 years. I have a master's degree in educational leadership from UW Oshkosh. I left teaching and I pursued financial advising. I teach every day. I work with numbers. I question a lot. Question. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Is this the right choice? Questioning, I think, in the Socratic method is the way to truly find the right answers. If you ask the right questions, you'll get to the truth. I am a business owner. I know how to do math. But I think from a parent perspective and looking at what's in the best interest of the kids, just questioning, looking at the assessment process. Are we doing what's in the best interest of the kids, or are there commingling of our district and where the money is going? So, thank you. Oh, one more thing. My leadership skills is I was the church council president of Lord of the Lakes, and through COVID, we managed to open earlier than other people, and we dealt with protocols. So the leadership skill has been shown through that position for the last 2 years. When I got done with being a church council president, I decided, hey, what better to do but run for school board, right?
All right, thank you, everyone. Your second question is a prepared one. What do you believe is the board's role in the day-to-day operations of the district? And we are going to start with Mrs. Keller.
While a district's Board of Education may not appear to most to be involved in the day-to-day operations of the school because they are not physically at buildings often day-to-day, the decisions they make, the policies they approve, and the importance they place on certain facets of the district directly determines the financial health, the academic and athletic opportunities, the district culture, and overall success of that district. It is important for board members to be available. This elected, paid position requires one to be visible and available to district staff, students, parents, and the community they serve. Thank you.
So what is the day-to-day operation of the board? Well, the day-to-day operation of the Board of Education is to set the policies that the administration is supposed to follow. And the Board of Education is there to monitor that the policies are being carried out, and to make sure that everything is transparent. Decisions are based on facts and data. And ask questions and just, are we doing what's in the best interest of the kids? Those are the big things when it comes to the day-to-day operation for the board, is really to monitor the administration and make sure that the administration is doing their job in following the policy that's set by the board.
The board's role in day-to-day operations. What do you ask? What is it? I think we want to make sure that we distinguish what the role is and what some of the duties are. You're asking here what the role is. The board's job is to make sure that the district is run well, not to make sure the district works, to make sure that it runs well. The school board is responsible for establishing goals, setting policies, and overseeing the resources for our school district. The superintendent is the one that works for the school board and translates the policy into action. Us board members, we don't micromanage the day-to-day activities. We're in the business of people. We have our district administrator who is the ambassador of our district. Under her direction, our building principals have the direction of the authority of the evaluation of our professional staff, and so on down the line. Our duties include current policy, suggest process, and make recommendations for implementing the process and the procedures that we do here in the district. As well, we maintain and establish the overall academic outcomes and achievements that we are setting as we set the bar of what we're looking for as a school district. That's our role. If we want to go further into duties, we can do that as well, because there are a number of duties as well that we do as far as our budgeting and our finances and so on and so forth with our committee work. But we have our people in place to make sure that the school districts run well. And that's under the direction of our superintendent.
In the day-to-day operations of the district, the board is responsible to identify the current ground floor needs of the students and to make sure those needs are met. The board should not be led by the administration, but should think on their own and come up with policies and accommodate the majority of all. A good board will make recommendations and develop strategies for implementing priority needs for students. The board also is responsible for making sure the curriculum for the students is acceptable and morally right, and make sure there is no bias in teachers, teaching material, and no emphasis on outside interests to distract and confuse the students from learning the things a good school curriculum was intended for. A board's role is to listen to the concerns of the parents and promote their involvement in the decision-making for their children and oversee without overreaching or micromanaging. A school board should have a broad focus on student and parental concerns without being driven by their own personal interests and positions. A school board's role is to work to earn respect and trust from the parents. Above and beyond all, a person in the school board role should always remember they work for you and be available when a parent has questions and concerns with what is happening in school.
All right, thank you, everyone. So your third question will be an impromptu. What are your thoughts on the referendum that will take place on April 5th for district facilities improvements? Specifically, do you support the district referendum, and if not, what changes would you propose, or what solutions would you propose to meet our current needs? Does anyone need that again? Yes. What are your thoughts on the referendum? Specifically, do you support the district referendum, and if not, what changes would you propose, or what solutions would you propose to meet our current needs? And we will start with Mr. Cundy this time.
In 2011, 2012, the Board of Education and the Winneconne Community School District Administrative Team established its promise. Learning today, leading tomorrow. We joined with a group of citizens who became known as our collaborative partners. They helped us map our pathway for facilities and improvements. This was the start of our journey. You asked the question if I support the referendum, and yes, I absolutely do support the referendum. First of all, because our facility upkeep and our facilities needs are at the point where when you look at the aging process of anything that is going to have traffic and being used on a daily basis, it needs to be maintained and it needs to be upkeep. We're working here in the middle school at 1975 electrical and sewer and heating and ventilating and so on and so forth. We're looking at ADA as far as our American Disabilities Act so that we're in compliance. We're looking at the safety of our children within our facilities and our entrances. We're looking at the overall structure of all of our facilities. The bones of our buildings are in good shape, but the internal assets are the ones that need to be improved upon. We have a parking lot that our high school was built in 1998. That's still the original parking lot. It needs to be upkeep. You see the traffic flow that's on that particular parking lot on a daily basis. Our elementary, as an example, look at the numbers that are within our building and our facility, and someone says, why aren't we looking at building a new elementary school? We went and had a vision. We put together every possible thing and every possible need within our district. Could you imagine if we came to you with those costs? In 2011 and 2012, when we came to you, we had said that our elementary school at that time we felt as though had about 20 years left of life. With the infrastructure changes and the upkeeps at our elementary school that we are looking at today and currently proposing, we still feel as though that we can get another 10 years out of our elementary school. This building here, as an example, if you look at a pole building, we have a fine structure, but it's a building that doesn't facilitate and suit the educational ways and means today of teaching. As well, in our high school, we're looking to propose a third station gym. The athletics within our district are extremely largely participated in. We have some of the best athletics within the Fox River Valley. The participation, the need for gym space, where some of our athletes are actually practicing and so on. Thank you.
As far as the referendum goes, I agree that there has to be some things updated and repairs made in our schools. But I don't see how our school board can ask taxpayers at this time for $47 million. Priority needs is what comes to my mind. Too many people have lost so much in the last 2 years, including jobs, businesses, savings, and even their homes. People are struggling, inflation is at its highest, and there is no end in sight for this. people are wondering about their own future and how they are going to get through this and recover. I don't feel this is the right time to be asking for that kind of money. I myself would have to see in black and white where every one of those dollars are going to be spent before I would agree to this kind of money. Perhaps in the future, if the economy stabilizes and a better picture is painted, I would possibly be in support of this, but not at this time.
Mr. Yanke.
All right, so what are my thoughts on the current referendum? Do I support or not support, and solutions? Okay. Well, first of all, when it comes to the referendum, I'd ask a couple questions. What I'd like to see is an Excel spreadsheet of every cost that's being broken down. You know, the information that's being shared is not real specific where it has like exact costs broken down. The second thing I would like to know is, do we have a contractor lined up, and do we have a contractor with an agreement that we can sign will not exceed the $47 million? We have inflation going on. Cost of materials are going up continuously. If we do pass the $47 million referendum, is it enough? Is it not enough? So do we need more? So these are questions that would need to be addressed. This referendum process, from the materials and the stuff I've been attending, started back in 2019. We had COVID 2020 in here, and the world changed. We learned different things on how kids learn. We learned how we could actually teach from a distance. You know, when I was at one of the presentations, the person said, we're building the building for the next 50 years. I'm like, 50 years from now, education is be so different. You know, my question is, are we asking the questions, are we building the school district for the future? Do we need the building that we have? So those would be questions that I would want answered. So could I answer, am I supportive of it or against it? Well, right now I would say, well, not right now. You know, I don't have enough information to answer all of my questions. So if I don't have the information, I'd say not right now, maybe next year. Because at this point, the referendum went on the ballot December, and then it had to come back in January because some procedural issues. We're 3 months out, and we're asking the community to vote on something for $47 million. I'm not saying we don't need it, but the community needs more information. You know, one of the things from a possible solution for the gym space, I was up in Rhinelander. Rhinelander built a dome for $10 million. They had private funding. This dome is huge. They have a football field in there. They can host softball tournaments. Softball teams come. It's a generator for the district. They have 3 basketball courts. They have tennis courts. They have cricket. It generates money for the district. This doesn't exist in the valley. When I was talking to the curriculum director up there, that weekend, it generated $7,000 for the school district. So those are questions and possible solutions. Can we think differently on, instead of looking at just rebuilding buildings, and say, what do we need for the future?
In regards to the referendum, I have and always will support our kids in any way, shape, and form. So you asked me tonight, am I for the referendum? I would say yes, I am. However, I'm worried. I'm worried that our community does not have the information that they need. I'm worried that we do have people in our community that are facing tough times, and it may not be a great time for them to look at raised taxes. I'm also worried that our information consists of 3 main points: huge amounts of money. The safety and security portion, absolutely, that's a no-brainer for me. Playground equipment, I don't know that now is the correct time for that portion of that. However, with it all lumped together into a huge amount of money and only one yes or no option, I'm a little concerned with that. And I leave you with this. If you were building a home and your builder gave you a large sum of money for your home and 3 bullet points to tell you what it would all include, would you vote yes or would you sign the contract?
All right, thank you, candidates. Question number 4 is a prepared response. What do you see as the major issues currently facing the Winneconne Community School District? And we will start with Ms. Blank.
I think our biggest issue right now is the deficit that we face. How did, figuring out how it happened and where the accountability is for this. And I think it should be explained to the taxpayers how we got there and how it will be fixed. Other major issues currently facing our district right now is I think our students are stressed out. I think a lot of this had to do with the way the pandemic was handled. The decision made by the board for pandemic protocol, I don't believe considered mental, physical, or emotional needs for our students. I think the fallout is that our students were hurt. This needs to be fixed. What's the fix for this? I'm getting all confused here. Skipping. Okay, it doesn't seem that it was ever about safety or what was best for our students, some of the protocols that were used. It's caused a huge loss of learning and set many students behind and left a wake of mental and emotional destruction. It has caused division in the community as well. Part of this was I felt the school board didn't listen to the parents. I saw parents over and over again trying to get a voice in how the pandemic was handled and make suggestions, and I saw the school board over and over again ignore or deny any consideration to what the parents were saying. With that being said, I feel fixing the damage that is done by poor pandemic protocols and making things right is the major issue. Seems like things are just out of control and people are unhappy.
So what are the major issues facing the school district? Well, part of the thing that I'm doing is listening to the constituents of the school district. So what I did is I emailed the questions out to 20 people that I know that are parents of the school district and asked for feedback, just what I would do if I'm elected to the school board. Ask for feedback, take information in. So one of the things, funding. Well, one of the things that came out that I never thought of is funding with open enrollment. When all schools go to unmasking, are we going to lose students that came because their schools had huge masking protocols? That will dramatically impact the financial situation of the school district. Has that been thought about? Another item that was brought out was transparency. Transparency of data and questioning of why we're doing what we're doing and what does the data tell us on our decisions. If you heard me talk about the grading system, we've been doing this for years. When I ask a question to Mr. Smith on what's the data, what's the feedback, compared to prior assessment, he's like, there's really no data. All it's that we went through the prior assessment process, which was really kind of a nothing answer. So transparency and data-driven decisions. Another issue is, of course, building accessibility and building safety. But building accessibility for people with disabilities. My father doesn't walk extremely well. When you look at athletic fields, if we have grandparents that want to watch their kid play soccer, it's really not the easiest thing to do. So accessibility is there. Even looking at the math and what's the data on the current math process. There's things where it's what we're doing and what does the data tell us back to. So those are some issues. Another thing is conflict of interest. There's a conflict of interest policy last night, and the question is the conflict of interest or perceived conflict of interest. And again, the conflict of interest with the grading, first educational resources, who's an employee, what was Mr. Larson's role within the district when he left. He wrote a book from the district. What happened with the data? We were doing groundbreaking research according to the book, and what happened? Where are we at now? Do we still have groundbreaking data on what we're doing from an educational standpoint? Student safety. We had an incident in November, and parents really didn't find out through an email from the school district. Some people found on Facebook. We got a kindness video I didn't know about until after the fact. you know, and being transparent and saying what is happening within the school district. You know, there's things, if there's bad things that happen in the school, we need to know. Done? If bad things happen in the school, we need to know what are the facts, are our kids safe, being transparent.
Tonight, I will touch on just two major issues that I feel are currently facing the Winneconne Community School District. The first is a major reason why I'm running for the school board, which you've already heard. With all due respect to those currently serving on our board, I feel our board lacks parents with students in the district, people who see firsthand how decisions are being made and affecting our children. We can all attest to the fact that decisions are made much more easily when you are not the one dealing with the fallout and the day-to-day effects of those decisions. A second major issue is a broken chain of communication within our district. This past fall, I myself spent 2 weeks attempting to get a simple item put on a school board agenda for an upcoming meeting, with no luck. I feel there's a major disconnect, and it's causing our district staff, parents, and community to feel like they are unable to communicate with our board, unable to get feedback or questions or concerned answers, and they deserve that in regards to being a transparent board. Input from district staff is also not being taken into consideration regarding decisions made that greatly impact their classroom culture. These trained professionals and frontline workers deserve a voice. Our district is unfortunately losing amazing teachers, support staff, coaches, and I feel this falls heavily on our administration and our board for not stepping in to figure out how we can minimize the district attrition. On paper, the Winneconne Community School District appears to be nothing short of an amazing district, and I honestly believe that it is. I also believe that there will always be things that need to be revisited, re-examined, and revamped.
I think there's a multitude of issues that currently we work with here at the complexity of school operations and school business is just that. It's a complex understanding, and it takes time to understand and to learn whether we're under statute or constitution and so on and so forth. There are major issues that are concerning to us today in our district, and before children can learn algebra or civics and reading, they need to have their deeper needs met. Today, the mental health awareness and social emotional aspect of learning with the challenges that we've been up against within the last 2 years, we're all aware of it. It's not just here in Winneconne, it's all over the country. We have a wide concern of our school children falling behind academically. We need to bring together those learning gaps. In today's world, meeting the social and emotional needs of our children is just as, if not the most important part of their academic progress. And then let's take a step back. Consider who those educators are as well and their needs. And the staff here in Wisconsin, across the nation, and increasingly reporting burnout and chronic stress. Staff cannot meet the student needs when their own needs are going unmet. I know that we are all thankful that we work with our educators and our staff, and while expressing our gratitude, it's important that we also find ways to go over and above and beyond and support them as well. As school board members, we play a crucial role in ensuring our educators and staff have the tools that they need and find meaning and connection to their work so that we can have the achievement and the outcomes and the engagement from our community, from our parents, and from our children. We need to encompass the whole child's needs. And I hope you all understand what that means when I say we need to encompass the whole child's needs.
All right, thank you, everyone. Our final question will be impromptu, and it is, what is your vision for education in the Winneconne Community School District? We will start with Mr. Yanke when you're ready.
All right, so what are my thoughts of education in the Winneconne School District? Well, coming from education and then leaving and going into the business world, I've had a whirlwind of experiences, from traveling to Ukraine, where I went over there to teach economic principles. Part of that was my thesis, as well as multiple intelligence. You know, where I look at education in Winneconne is the elementary school is where we're getting more and more students from open enrollment, which is great. We have to provide them, solid teachers, with the ability to have the right building. But where you really see the pavement hit the road is in the high school. So focusing on the high school level, part of the things that I look at is like, you know what? We don't have trades focused on in the high school. Electricians, plumbers, having that component within our high school and going back to the traditional shop class, we have a demand within this country of having that need, having apprenticeships graduate. Looking at the future of education within Winneconne is, can we do things differently? Do we have to do the Monday through Friday, or can we do hybrid pieces? Can we leverage the target-based learning so that if kids have, here's all the work you need to do, you get it done, oh, you're done with the course. What else can you learn? So really focusing on, if you have target-based learning, it's individualized. That's the part of the target-based learning. What's the curriculum for the students? Let them do the curriculum. Let them explore and develop more and more and more and more. And letting the children discover where they're at and not losing children in the process. You know, reading, writing, and arithmetic, going back to the basics and focusing on that. What's the assessment on our reading? What's the assessment on our math? Are we losing kids? If the kids are getting it, great. Let them move on so we can focus on the kids that aren't getting it. Special education. You know, we have children that have special needs beyond the children who don't have emotional or learning disabilities. How do we help them? You know, this was, so I guess there's more questions that are at ask on what we're doing and what can we be doing better.
My vision for education here in Winneconne, I feel like our youngest of kids need more play. I feel like our elementary students need recess, regardless of how they behave or if they're late on their writing or arithmetic. I feel like our younger students need less testing. If you all knew how much testing my children go through, it is a lot. I feel like our educational process lacks a homework transition. We have 0 in 5th grade, and wham, 6th grade, you have quite a bit. I also feel that our education lacks a little bit of the study skills area. I recently will share a little personal tidbit. I was on the way home from Madison with my 18-year-old senior son who gets great grades, 3.4 GPA. And we were talking about college. He's leaving this fall for Eau Claire. And he informed me that he will have to figure out how to study. This is a huge concern of mine. I asked him to please explain what he's talking about, and he explained that he simply goes into his classes today, takes the test, not a pretest, a test, figures out what's on the test, bombs it, goes back in a few days later and retakes it. This is how my 3.4 GPA son is ill-prepared for college. Need to look into that. I feel like our vision of education for Winneconne needs to stay progressive. We need to stay encompassing. I feel like our school does a great job offering the advanced placement classes and offering some of our top-end things at the high school. I also feel like we need to teach our kids how to balance checkbooks. My son learned how to make pizza the other day. That was great. Real-life basic skills that our children are going to need when they get out in the real world. That's kind of my vision, and in closing, I would like to thank you guys all for coming tonight.
to add what Megan said, you know, at one time here in the school district, we had a program that we called a reality store years ago. We gave our students a checkbook. They had to pay for their college education, health insurance, auto insurance, rent, and they were given a job. When they were given a job, it had an income level that they were paid. But when they got all done with their expenses, they had to have money left in their checkbook. Effective schools establish a clear vision with high expectations for quality teaching and learning that supports strong student outcomes. They establish clear and specific goals to make districts move forward. I think today that we're dealing with the demand from community. They're asking for curriculum, they're asking for electives, and we can appreciate that because that's what our community is asking. That's what's going to push our children into the 22nd century careers. Today, we look at what drives technology, we look at sustainability, and we look at the development and the depth of the pathways that we are sending our children through and to. We need to look at innovative ways to adapt and to continue to teach. I look at it and I call it grand challenge courses. As an example, we have a lot of global problems, but we need to start to look at a visionary way and direction that locally we can come up with solutions to solve some of those problems. And some of these problems are some of the real world experiences that our students are going to experience once they do leave high school. And we also need to continue to look at the essential career skills. Along with our challenges today of mental health awareness, social emotional learning, and so on, we need to look at the content of what we're teaching, the background knowledge and the science and where we're going and where we're headed. You know, it's once said, in no disrespect, that doctors don't save lives, they extend lives. But teachers develop lives. And that's so important that we remember our foundation and the strength of our level of expectations and how we are preparing and our vision learning today and leading tomorrow. And think about some of that, what we're saying and what we're doing. You know, we can easily point the finger, but internally we have to have a balance. And a balance that's going to help correct some of our critical concerns here within our district. We work together. You are the people. We are the parents. And by the way, I was a parent. I have 6 children that graduated from this community school district, and I have grandchildren that are in the school district at this time. My feeling is we can look at that both ways, whether you're a current parent with children or a parent that had children, because the time of what it takes to serve in the capacity and offer what's needed for your participation at your Winneconne Community School District level as a board member.
My vision for education is going to be pretty simple. Leaving no child behind, giving equal opportunity to all students, keeping schools a place for education and education only by taking out the distractions, allowing students to be taught without being indoctrinated, making sure kids have a safe environment in school and feel that way. That's all.
All right. That concludes our forum. Thank you again to all the candidates and to everyone who attended either in person or online. There will be another chance to hear from the candidates in their candidate statements, which will appear in the March 30th edition of the Winneconne News. Again, the candidates may make themselves available to answer specific questions at this time. Have a good night and drive safe.
I thought that we would have an exit. I thought that we were having an exit.